Mindset Marketing Nelson, and today we are coming to you live from the Royal Oath Insurance Group right here in Clinton Township, Michigan. Big shout out to the entire team here. Royal Oath is more than just an insurance agent. They're your promise keepers. Whether it's auto, home, business, life, or health insurance, they're here to protect what matters to you most. You can check them out at royaloathinsurance.com or give them a call at 586-238-3535. And of course, today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends at Connection, the CRM built for closers. If you're a real estate agent, entrepreneur, or small business owner looking to automate, follow up, and close more deals and stay top of mind, then Connection is your secret weapon. Go to yourconnection.com and take control of your pipeline today. Now, whether you're tuning in live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, or X, catching the replay on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you stream, we're glad you're here. Do me a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment, and share this with a friend, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. All right, guys, let's get locked in. We've got a powerhouse show lined up today, and if you're in business or real estate or just building something big, this one is for you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Elite Real Estate Podcast, again on a fantastic Friday. Super excited today. It's a lot of stuff's happening in the Detroit area today. If you're around, you should be heading downtown at some point today because it is opening day for the Tigers. And for those of you that aren't in the Detroit area today, or watching this later, opening day in Detroit is a whole different animal, and it's not like normal. It's not like other cities. Detroit doesn't do anything normal, so it's a pretty big day. It's like another holiday for us. It is Good Friday too, so it's all those good things. But I'm super excited to have my guest come in today. Longtime friend, associate, business partner, and more importantly, like I said, a longtime friend. So, Mr. Curtis Shewell, how are you, my man?
Jimmy, good morning. Happy opening day, Detroit Tigers.
Good morning, my man. It is. You got the Detroit swag on today. You got
you ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's go,
Tigers. You're ready to get down there.
Opening day's an event, right? It's kind of like a holiday in Detroit. I know there's other cities that do a nice deal on opening day, but it is an absolute free for all holiday here in Detroit. So opening day, Tigers every year, good years, bad years, doesn't matter. Opening day is an event that is it's amazing, right? Every single time. So it's an exciting day in Detroit right now.
Yeah. It's funny. I had some buddies go to another city. I'm not going to name the city because I don't want to disparage any other city, but they went to another city for opening day, right? For their opening day. And they were like, where is everybody? Like, where's all the parties at? Like, they're like, we're the only ones that do this.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's funny. A lot of teams, it's like, like even the Tigers, they started on the road, and every year the Tigers typically, Major League Baseball starts a schedule on the road because, they'll start sometimes in at least last week of March going into April or right at the beginning of April. So opening day will always be in that first weekish of April for the Tigers at home. And the reality is because it's still a little bit cold here, and the weather's hit or miss. So you've got to get kind of lucky. We've had opening days where it literally snowed on opening day and they still played. And it is like, it's cold out, but like you said, the streets are packed, the parties are happening, the big tents are out, all the bars are open at, 6 a.m. It's kind of like St. Patrick's Day. Very similar vibe, but even bigger because it's more condensed, right?
That's right. Right. We got some good mornings. We got Justin said it's going to be a great day for opening day.
Oh, Justin's so right. Because I don't know if you can kind of catch a little bit of a shadow on me here. That's coming through my windows off the lake. The sun rises on. I have the most beautiful place. My sun rises up right on the other side of the lake. So it looks gorgeous coming into my house every morning when it's sunny. And Justin's right. The sun's up and it's going to be a great afternoon. So I'm excited.
I've been to those opening days where it's snowing. I've been there.
Yeah.
Sat through 9 innings of probably terrible baseball if I ever could remember. Like there was maybe some reasons I didn't remember at all. But
some libations. We'll talk about those in a minute. But that could be something to do with it.
Yeah. Ron says stud overload here.
Appreciate you, brother. Good morning.
So, hey, man, I'm super glad to have you on. We've had you on several times, right? Like, and because it's always a good conversation, right? But one of the things we wanted to talk about today was like a mindset shift and how those things come about, right? Like what does the mindset even happen, and how do people grow? Why do they stay stuck? Why can't their business grow? Why can't they expand? And do all those things like that mindset shift. So like in your mind and what you've thought about, because again, none of us, well, you and I, we didn't start with a silver spoon, right? It
No, I
I
missed
mean,
that day,
yeah,
When
yeah.
they said sit out for dinner, I went out to the picnic tables. I didn't realize I was supposed to be inside. Yeah.
I had the spork.
We started outside. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the spork from KFC.
You got the spork? We had to use
Yeah.
that, man. We just had finger looking good. Yeah.
um, but what is that? What is that thing that like that when you look at people who actually grow versus those who stay stuck? What's one mindset shift that changes that?
All right, I'm gonna give you a short story, and that's usually unusual for me. A short story, but let me give you a quick short story just to give you kind of the mindset in my head that has always been. And all I did was, as I got older, learn to understand it and then learn to utilize it. Because we talk about all the time is what's the difference between the people who have success and who don't have success in the same settings, and it's the smallest gap. It's so small. We think it's this huge, great divide. I think it's the Grand Canyon. It's not. It's just the smallest gap. What it is people that take action and don't wait are the ones who typically are going to have more success because they're going to have 100 times more failures. They're going to learn quicker. They're going to learn by experience. And when people come out of college and people get jobs, things like that, and there's the two schools of thought. And again, I'm all about college. Every one of my kids went to college. I went to college for one semester, got kicked out because we couldn't afford it. Right. So
Yep.
I had my stint at Eastern Michigan, which was this long. And as soon as they finally caught me and said, hey, you have to pay. And I'm like, oh, my parents can't give me a loan. They're like, yeah, no. They said, yeah, no. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was kicked out. So that's the truth of it. And others go to college and get great degrees. And I think it's important. I believe going to college teaches you how to learn. And I wanted my kids to have the best advantage to learn how to learn. And each of them did. And, and it's all a relevant term of what they do with it. So for me, the understanding that I had to learn from experience. So when you're interviewing people or hiring people, a lot of times people want people to come to jobs or give you a job. They're asking, what's your education? And yeah, I'm old, right? So nobody asks me that anymore because they really don't care. They're like, well, you're old. So it doesn't matter what you learned, 45 years ago. But the reality is people think, which one's better? Well, the college educated kid has some different education levels than somebody at School of Hard Knocks. But the School of Hard Knocks is probably going to elevate you in the sales world way better. And what I mean is experience. So when I'm looking at people, I'm looking at their experience levels and what have you gone through? So this is kind of where you're going. And, or at least where I go with what you asked me is the mindset is really based upon what journeys have I traveled? Where have I gone? What have I gone through? How many times have I failed? And the more times I've failed, which has been a tremendous amount, is really going to help elevate me quicker to where you get to a point where you have success. And I get asked a lot, Kurt, man, it's like, this is crazy. Like you're in this really great bubble. Like you found the right calling for you. And man, this has just worked out. And man, you're just so, this great success you're having in real estate. Well, the reality is, I'm 60 years old. This took a long freaking time.
Overnight success.
Yeah, overnight 60-year success. Like there ain't no overnight in this thing. And I think that's what people miss. And then when you build a business, you build your brand, you build yourself, you build what you're building. You just need a platform to be able to do it on that feeds into what your vision is. And most people, when you say what's your vision, they'll tell you a goal. It's like, well, that's not a vision. That's a goal. And then they'll say, well, yeah. And then you say, well, how are you going to hit that goal? And they don't have a plan. So they're, a goal or hope is not a business plan. And sometimes when you say that to them, you kind of crush their feelings and you push them back. And I try not to do that because I know that they won't get started again. The hardest part for these people that are struggling is to just engage, get in the throes of the fight. You have to get in. You have to get told no. You have to have somebody kick you out of their house and not list their house. You have to have somebody tell you, well, I went with somebody that I thought was better than you. You have to get kind of kicked in the teeth a few times to understand that, okay, I don't want that. what caused that. And what happens is we run from it because we fear things, and we fear of being embarrassed. The fear of embarrassment is probably the biggest detriment that I've noticed in years and years and years in all different walks of life and businesses that I've been in, is the fact that these people are more worried about being embarrassed than they are about having success. They will not. So if you think about that, I'm gonna get stupid for a second, right? I was watching some other people's stuff, some podcasts, and then some debates, and this real whole conversation erupted on some people that we all know, and it was this two-sided thing. And then, misery loves company. So a whole bunch of people that weren't having a lot of success all jumped in and agreed with, yeah, these people, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's and these people. And I was like, wow, you guys are broad stroking everybody who's having kind of more success than you. And I read through it all, and I realized the theme in it was the people that were on this side of it were literally, it was just, they were mad that these other people were having success, and say, yeah, well, look, there's only a few of you and there's so many of us. And I'm like, well, that's because misery loves the company. That you guys can sit there and tell each other why it's someone else's fault, and then they want to beat their chests. And it's like, well, okay, go ahead. And I didn't engage in the public forum of it, but I took one of the two guys that were kind of driving that conversation, and I hit him up privately, and I said, do you even understand what you're saying? And then he wrote me a book back of how, oh, Kurt, don't even try it, let me tell you. And he gave me this whole, he's going to tell me. And I said, okay. So then I replied back to him one thing. What if you actually did this? Would it have not worked? Is that because you're not capable, or is it just because you've never done it? And that's all I asked him, and then he gave me the, well, but so, and I'm like, oh, loser, 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 loser answers, because the loser answers are, well, but, and so these are excuses. So I said, I'm glad you replied the way you did, because it just shows that you just gave me excuses. I said, into your own admission. I said, these aren't a fact. This is actually an excuse of why you didn't. Most people don't act because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of being embarrassed. They're afraid of not having success. So out with this travel. So if you really want to know where it's at, you have to get yourself out there. And I love the little comment in here, Al's listening, love Al, because Al's tagged himself in a way that's so cool, right? His name is Al. Well, he is now working internationally in other countries and actually selling real estate in multiple countries. How cool is that? But he's at a platform that actually supports that and allows you to do that. And it's such a cool thing that you can be in one place and have all that. So now he's international Al. And I love the tag on it. I really, really do. Because he's also not afraid. He will go and just try these things. And it's because I thought to myself, there's no way I'm getting on a plane, flying to another country over across the pond, and then go figure out where I'm at. Now, granted, he's got some friends over there, even if I went to where I have friends in other countries, but then to all of a sudden say, I'm just going to create this thing. That's amazing to me. And I love that because he's not afraid to take the action. So,
yeah. And I think that's true. And to pull apart some of that, what you said, I think, you talk about people have a tendency to, we do, it's our human nature, right? We run from pain to get to pleasure, but pain is sometimes what we need to move us to that next level.
Yeah. We walk slowly to pleasure, which blows my mind. You should be running to pleasure, Jimmy. Yeah. You run from pain. You move quickly from pain, but you go very slow to pleasure, which is the whole point of the whole thing, is the pleasure. But we go very slowly to that, but yet we'll move very quick from pain.
Yeah. And sometimes stay in it too long.
Well, what happens is it's the frog in the boiling pot of water.
Yeah.
Throw a frog in a pot of water, boiling water, he'll jump out immediately. He's not gonna get killed. But if you put the frog in the water and you turn it up slowly until it boils, he'll stay in there the whole time until he's dead.
Yeah, and could get out, right? There's all these analogies, and you and I as coaches, like, we see all these analogies. The crab in the bucket, the one keeps pulling the other one down, right? None of them actually get out, right?
The crab's
yeah, that's what you were saying though, because once, it's when you're around those people, right, that are starting to get negative, it naturally just starts to fall to you, and you become that way.
Yep. Yeah,
and it's hard to resist it.
Yeah, there's a couple ways around it. One that's just been very plain. I've been really fortunate in the last 10 years of a lot of people that, and don't get me wrong, people I've met through the course of my life have been wonderful. It's just, there's been a lot in this last 10 years that have really helped shape me to where my mind completely is today. And again, it's that putting yourself in rooms with different minded people, very successful minded people having levels of success. And I was able to learn over years of how to get in those rooms with those audiences and be part of that audience and start listening to, what does that conversation sound like? Why does it sound so different than yours? But yet what happens, they're like, man, this guy's, we meet these people, we talk to these people, and we're like, oh, he's just like me, or he's just like us, oh, he's great, or she is amazing, she's just awesome, she just says this, this, and this. And it's like, right, but did you really listen to the message in it?
Right.
And they were more excited that, no, they're really cool people. Right. What was their message? And then they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you missed it. You had the opportunity. Now go back and listen to what they said to you in your head. Think about what they said. Think about what you talked about. Think about where their mindset is. And what happens is they get to meet that person, but they don't ask any questions. And it's the key is ask a few questions and make sure they're not about you. that's the way to not. And this is what happens. They let, oh, this is who I am, and this is what I do, and I'm just your biggest fan, and I follow you, and I try to emulate you, and I'm the. And they're like, okay, well, great. Yeah, so nice to meet you. Oh my God, she was amazing. Or he was great. It's like you missed, right? Ask them about them. Ask them some things about what they did. Ask them, I love what you're doing here. If you had just one piece of advice for me to follow a path to get somewhere near this direction that you're in, if I was to do it, and I'm in this space, what would your best advice for me be in the space I'm in now? And they would give you a piece of advice because they can't wait to do it. And they're very awesome that way. That's where these successful people are. They're always looking to help. That's what makes them so great. And then you got to implement what they said. You have to really digest it and take it. And a lot of times it hurts our feelings because we want this profound thing of, oh my God, they said this great thing, Jimmy. Oh my God, it's going to change my life. Well, they gave it to you. It was the building block, right? You have to start somewhere and you haven't started yet. So you're missing, or you're kind of playing at level 1 and they're just trying to get you to level 2 and you want to be at 10. Well, think about this. I'm only going to take advice, and I'm going to give you one piece that I learned from a lot of these people. And a lot of them say the same thing. I'm only going to take advice from somebody that I would either wish I could switch places with, either financially or business wise, right? Maybe not a personal life, their personal lives, because again, it's all relevant to the environment that you create. Right. And that's gonna have a lot to do with it. And I want to be a family person and I want to be hunkered down and be part of this. Then great. Then create the best scenario inside of that and build it to the highest extent you can. Other people are like, no, I want to be like that. I have a very good friend that you and I are friends with who was given advice by somebody who's a billionaire, very ridiculously successful, but they told them, they literally said, your family comes second. The business is free. You got to be married to your business and you got to build it up. You can be a billionaire. Okay, well, you can also be a very lonely person, but filled with riches, but not enriched, right? Yeah. So are you really rich? Because I am extremely blessed and enriched. Doesn't mean that I don't have my own family issues too, but I have a great core and most of it's fantastic. That we all have our pieces that aren't, and I wish some of them were better. But at the same time, in my business has to fit my personal. Right. It has to fit my core values. And I don't lose sight of those. And the advice that I watched a very good friend of ours given by this person who he respects immensely, I thought, wow, I wouldn't switch places with that person. Financially, sure, because they're a billionaire and having success and they're very good at what they do. Don't get me wrong, they're very good at what they do. It's just they do not have that attachment to their core value changed. The core value was the business and the money. And I don't want to be that ever. So you'll find it's not, but so you ask yourself, would I change places with that person? Because I'll tell you what, the other 5 other billionaires that I personally know, which has been like insane. Like it's funny to even say I know a billionaire that on a friendly basis where like they know me, I know them, they call me by my first name and they're in my phone and we chat. That's an amazing group of people because I can talk to those people and they're very open to talk to me and give me advice. So I seek the advice and I ask the questions. But I ask them because those are people I would switch places with. Yeah. Right? Those are people who I want to be more like. Those are people that I want to be at the level that they're at. So if you're going to be coached or taught or trained, or you're going to take the advice of somebody who's not even at the level you're trying to get to, you are taking the advice from the wrong person. I promise you. Not that they're not great people. I have a lot of amazing friends who I talked about personal stuff or whatever, is that, because these are valuable people to me. Their heart is so big, better than mine, smarter than mine. They're more wonderful people than me. I want to be more like them for that. But when it comes to business and finances, I have to be taking my lessons that I'm getting and my advice from people who are at the level I'm trying to get to, or even way above that.
Right.
I get the, I'm rambling here, but I get the ability to, on a daily, I work with Mark Z on a daily basis. Like him, don't like him, love him, don't love him, whatever that might be. And he's built a brand and a business over the years, the same thing. And he jokes the same thing. He's like, yeah, I'm a 25-year overnight success, because he's been doing this for 25 years. And there's every part of my business, part of real estate. I look at what he's doing, I look at what I'm doing, and I measure myself. Okay, am I going in that direction the right way? But what's great about it is he's a true friend, meaning that he has no problem telling me, bro, you know what you're doing, right? That's just stupid. Like, he'll tell you, like, right, that's stupid. And I'm like, no, let me tell you why. And he's like, tell me. And he'll literally sit there and stare at you, kind of like, your older brother, but I'm the older brother than him. But he'll look at you like the older brother looks at you like, no, that ain't gonna work, dude. I've already done that. And what's great is he'll tell you why, right? And he'll give you the the good, the bad, the ABCs of it. And I love that. But he's so straight, he's so quick, he's so short, he's straight to the point. And he'll say, let me know how that goes up to here, because if it doesn't start here, you need to stop.
Yep.
And 9 out of 10 times he's right. Not always, but 9 out of 10 times he's right. But I have to tell him of why I'm doing it this way, or what my mindset is, or what I'm trying to achieve, and then it makes more sense.
Yeah, because it fits what you're doing, right? Like, that's the most important thing. To take a couple things out of that, like, you don't want to be. I don't want to be the guy with the most money with the empty house.
That's right.
I'd rather have a small house filled with family, right? Like, than a giant home with a water park in the backyard that's empty, right? And that's it's key. And there are facets to that are amazing to me. But the other thing you pulled out of that, and that to hit on really hard, because I think this is where a lot of people get stuck with their mindset. But most people know what they should be doing.
Yep.
But they don't do it. Yep. Right? Like you said, you can get in the room and you can find out what you should be doing and all that stuff.
Yep.
What's the mindset to get people, like, how do I start doing what I should be doing?
I think it's as simple. People want these profound answers. It's pretty simple. It's not easy, because you got to commit, right? You have to, one, live on a routine and really create a better routine than you have. So it's really simple. It's just small tweaks. You have to literally say, okay, I'm going to be up at this time. And you can be the John Cheplack that gets up at, I'm up at 2 a.m. because I'm at the gym at 3 and I'm pumping and I'm doing this till 4 and I've got my podcast out, or I've got my recordings on and I'm listening to it in my earbuds and I'm firing myself up. And at 5 o'clock, I'm on my first meeting, and 5:30, my next one, and 6 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock, I've done more in my day than people are, whole country. And it's like, John, I agree with you. That is not something I'm going to do, because it doesn't fit to the way my family runs. So that's not going to work. But I can do the same thing, just in a different block of time. Now, I could argue that I do it better because I have a more fulfilling personal life. Or he could argue and say, well, he's got it because now financially he can have the dreams that he wanted, and he can buy, that big $5 million ranch he bought, and, start raising horses now and do all that. And God bless him, that's what he's into. That's good. But everybody's trying to fill a void in their own lives, and they're trying to fill voids themselves, and if you listen to his story, he's only made it in the last 5 years. Now, he's been working towards that, but he's only been even free in the last 2 years. If you really know a lot more about him, I don't want to waste the time going through the whole John Cheplack story, but it's an interesting story. But he's only getting it now, and he's like a little kid in a candy store right now. And I like watching him now better than I did before, but he was very disciplined to get there, and he knew he could get there, but he had to stay regimented. So, he's got an addictive personality, so he has to be addicted to the things he does, because that's his personality type. And I think there's a lot of people like that we don't want to admit it, but we're really heavy driven, and we like what we like, and we get into it. The problem is, Jimmy, is we get liking the parts that don't provide any income for us, don't push the needle forward, don't move us in our business, don't help us actually get the end result that we want, because those are the harder parts typically, because you have to learn, and it's hard at first. And if I could just say this straight out, it's hard at first. You'll get there. If you keep doing it, it's not so hard anymore. Speaking French is hard when you don't speak French, but once you learn French, Speaking French becomes natural to you. You don't think about it. You just do it. So
Right.
what we do is not easy, but it's not extremely difficult when it becomes easy. You have to get to the part where this starts to become easy, right? You've heard pro athletes, the game slows down for them. Well, it's because it's moving so quickly and you're just, oh my God, how do I get in there? And the fear of jumping in is the hardest part they have. And this is why these incredible athletes fail at the highest level, because their own fears. And they never talk about it that way, but that's the truth of it. So you watch, Jimmy, you're a big basketball guy. And I think everybody's seen a basketball game sometime in their life.
Yeah.
Think about this. There's only 5 guys on the court at a time. There's typically 12 guys on a roster. That means there's 7 guys on the bench. And you kind of have to have that, even though 6 of these guys play most of the entire game. Some guys never come out. They'll play the entire game like you did when you were a kid. But most athletes, go in and out throughout the game. So you'll have kind of that 6th man thing, which means this person rotates in a lot. But then you'll have a 7th and 8th. So these other people come in if someone's in foul trouble, such. Well, the reality is there's 4 people on that bench that never will see 1 second of playing time on that game. And they'll go months, Jimmy, months, where those players never, ever, ever see the court in a live game. And when they get in, it's like they've never played the game before. They look like a fish out of water. They're not symbiotic with the team. They're out there and they finally got in because for the last 2 minutes of a game that's a blowout. And they run around and they're even like shaky when they get the ball, and they double dribble, or they'll travel, or they'll throw it and miss it, or they won't catch the pass. They'll throw bad shots up. But if you watch them in practice, they're amazing. These are top-notch, unbelievable basketball players. But because they don't get to play on a normal, when they get out there, they're trying so hard and they're pushing so hard, they're failing and they look ridiculous doing it. And they're amazing players, because if you take them outside the next day on any other group, they're the most dominant player you've ever seen. The problem is they're not prepared because of their own fears. And we do this ourselves. Put me in. Okay, you're in. Oh shit, what do I do? Well, you've been waiting your whole life for this moment. Here's your moment. Seize that moment. Take it. Yeah. Do it. And go be your best. And what happens is we don't. And they're like, okay, I'm ready. Oh, shoot, Jimmy, you put me in. Okay, all right. Well, hold on. All right, now, well, hold on. Before I go, no, you said, I want to get in this house for a listing appointment, and we're in real estate, right? So, great, get me in there. I'll close that listing for sure. If I'm face to face with them, I'll get them. Okay, here you go. What are you going to say to them? Oh, well, okay, well, wait a minute. All right, I'm not ready. Well, how are you not ready? You've been asking for this, right? Over and over and over. Let's go. Be prepared, be ready. And what happens is we're not. So you can boil this right down to just practice what you preach, do the right things, just do them each day, and let's go. And that's how we do it.
Yeah.
Good morning.
It is. Good morning. And so there is something to be said about, again, just do it, right? We've talked about all that stuff. Like just do it, do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, on a daily basis, and go from there. It sounds simple, but it's not easy. It sounds great. It sounds like, just
buy a schedule.
Just do this thing. And one of the things I've found is that I tell clients and agents that I'm coaching all the time to, like, the more bland your days are, the more money you'll make. You know what I mean? Like, the more just like, all right, here's what I do from 9 to 10. Here's what I do from 10 to 11. Here's what I do from 11 to, and you just rinse and repeat and do that every day. It sounds really boring, but that's what leads you to the most success.
Yeah. I've been playing with this, Jimmy. You have the ABCs, right? The always be closing, right? But, coffees for closers, Glengarry, then Ross, and all the fun stuff, right? Well, instead of ABC, it's ABP, because there's your answer, right? It's okay, Kurt, what's the secret? What do I have to do to have the success? I'll tell you straight now. If you're in real estate, it's ABP. So always be prospecting. Every single day, prospect. You can pick up a phone. You can shoot texts, you can send out emails, you can do it through your social media. There are, I think there was I think Gene Frederick in his book, he says 101 ways to prospect. And it's perfect, because it covers literally any way you think you might want to maybe do it. Go knock on doors, do open houses, do mailers, there's 100 ways to prospect. The thing is, you have to do one of them every day. Always be prospecting. If you're doing that, that's how we breathe, right? We get a deal, now we can eat. right? Hey, we're going to eat. The problem is once you start eating, you stop breathing because you're so focused on closing this one deal. You just emptied your pipeline out because you left them. You ghosted all your other clients. You have no one else in your pipeline because you're focused here. And now you finally get it closed. And then you turn around, you're like, okay, where's my next closing? Oh, shoot, I don't even have anything pending. Oh, shoot, I don't even have anybody in play.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? That's the difference. It's always be prospecting, fill your pipe, keep your pipe going, and you'll have much more success.
I had a conversation with a broker owns his own brokerage a couple days ago. And he said, I like quick deals. You know what I mean? Like I'm just banging out these quick deals. Like I like, everything's moving. Because I had talked to him about, whatever lead sources we were discussing. Right. And, some of them are more long-term. And he's like, yeah, I don't like the long-term nurture. And I just wanted the quick ones. And I said, why not both? Well,
right.
Why not both? Right. I go, if you set up your systems the right way and your system stays in front of that long-term nurture with text and AI and all the things that we have now and the tools that we have and the technology, if your tools stay in front of that long-term nurture, and then all of a sudden in 6 months or a year when they decide to buy, oh my gosh, now I've just added another one to my deal this month. It's not that I've pushed another one off to the side to concentrate on this one. I've added another one. We were talking about new construction. And he was like, well, I find like these new construction homes, like they don't close quick. And I'm like, well, they don't. But
Nope.
He's like, yeah, but I like quick closes. I'm like, but why not both?
And
he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you just got to set up your systems the right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just gets funny when people start to think like, well, I have to have this and I can't get this. You can have both.
Yep.
You have to set everything up correctly, right? And take the time to make sure it's stable and sturdy. But at the same point, you can have both of those things.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're right. You're 100% spot on, Jimmy. You saw my newest presentations I've been doing lately, and it's called right?
Yeah.
Right. So Al's got the always be ready, ABA. I think it's always be Al, right? Always be Al, right? International. I mean, keep going. Yeah. Keep prospecting, keep building, always be ready, because I love that, Al, because opportunities are coming in front of you all the time. You're just not seeing them. And if you're ready for them, then you'll be ready, right? So it's always be asking questions. So it's always be able to ask the next question, be ready to ask a question. So when people, you and I've been together that one time, that gal, I forget where we were, and she's like, how are you always, like, you're just always on, you flip this switch. And it's not that I flip a switch. I'm always ready, like Al's saying. And I always look in my mind as any person is a potential prospect. So Justin's even chiming in here with always be prospecting. That's the key, right? I'm always already open for it. So I'm looking for it. So my switch is on. It's not I'm flipping it on to be, oh, you're bringing this. Don't you ever have downtime? Well, yeah, it's a whole different thing. When I'm out, I'm looking at opportunities because I'm seeing the world very different. Because again, it's that surround yourself with those people that you're with who are having that success. You can learn from every one of these people. You can learn from absolutely every freaking one of them. And I learn from all these people because there's so many people 100 times smarter than me. I'm just more opportunistic of looking where the opportunity lies. So the success level is so small, the gap. I'll take action. I'll play. And you hear me say it all the time. All right, I'll play. The girl that came up to us, Jimmy, and she's like, well, how can you do that? I said, all right, I'll play. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I said, I'm ready. Throw it at me. I mean, what are you thinking? Because I don't know if I have the right answer, but I'll give you an answer.
Right.
I'll tell you the one thing that I'm going to give it to you. And I said, no matter what you ask me, I'm going to tell you my answer is going to be and. And she's like, well, should I do this or this or this or this? And it's like, no, it's and. So like I for those of you who can't see my screen right now, who are listening to us, not watching us, I have three things up here for production. What are the three characteristics on production? Well, it's simple. You got leads, right? So you got the leads over here. You got leads, you have training, and then you have the support functions, which is really your follow-up. So that's all you need. One, I have to continually prospect, right? You're always prospecting. So you're prospecting new business. If you're not, your pipeline will dry up very quickly. So the being ready, I'm not being ready. I'm in the game. I'm prospecting. I'm always prospecting, no matter where I'm going. I'm going to the Tigers opening day. Well, I'm going down there to meet 1 million people. I want to say hi to everybody because I don't know who I'm going to meet today. So
Right.
they're like, well, how do you know what you're going to? I don't, but I'm open to it. I'm already ready. So kind of the Al thing, always be asking, I'm going to ask a million people a million questions today because I'm going to meet everybody I can and say hi. And, who are they? Now I'm going to meet a lot of people I know as well because I'm going to be in some groups that I know. I'm going to know a lot of people there. It's going to be great. And then this is where you get to retouch on them. So this is the follow-up. So if I look at my support piece, it's the follow-up. So you have these relationships, and what do? You nurture the heck out of them, right? So this is what you have. You have your group, you have these people, you're part of it. So I'm about to go immerse myself into a population of 1 million people condensed downtown Detroit for opening day, but I'm going to go run into a bunch of people I do know to reconnect, right? So that's always reconnecting and nurturing those relationships and fostering them. And then at the same time, I'm going to meet new friends today because I'm going to meet new people that I don't know. And I'm going to say hi to them and I'm going to ask them questions about them, not about me. It doesn't matter who I am. It matters who they are because I'm looking for those, and you're prospecting. So if you start understanding, work your leads, right? Always be training so you can learn more. I'm always open to learning. And I learn from the people I talk to. You learn from conversations. You learn from interactions. You learn from being in the rooms with these other people. Well, I'm going to be in more rooms. Every day I look to be in another room so I can keep expanding. So I can learn. That's the training part. The training comes from classroom training. It comes from the Jimmy type training where Jimmy, you're teaching something every single day. And people who aren't listening, they're missing out on something they could learn every single day, just that one thing. But it's not just learning for your brain. It's learning something that I could go put into action today. Can I go do that? Can I do it now? And then you have to ask yourself the question, why am I not doing it now? Go do it. Just go do it, right? It's the Nike, just do it. Well, you have to. And then the key is the follow-up, and they say the fortune of the follow. Well, because you're following up on the leads in always prospecting, right? So you're turning these people into leads or clients. Now I've got conversations going. A lot of them nurture. Your point on the new construction, it might take 9 months, 12 months before I can get paid. I want to get paid then too. So I'm going to do this and that. And then I'm going to do this and that and that. And then I'm going to do this and that and that and that. Now, don't get caught up in, and my wife says to me all the time, man, you follow all the bouncing balls. I do. And I juggle them around to see which ones are going to be the fruitful ones, because sometimes I'm not sure and I don't want to miss out on great opportunities. So I make sure that I'm juggling the balls to make sure that they're in the air so I can watch each one and I can participate in it. And I can't participate I can only participate one at a time. But when I'm in it, and then I'm in the next one, and I'm in it, and I'm in the next one. So it's not about multitasking. They're like, oh, you're multi. I'm really not. I didn't forget about the others. And I think that's the nurture part. You have to constantly work in all those areas that you're in, but you've got to work hard at them, work your best at them, make them as consistent as you can be with them, and then start to see the fruits that come from each of them. It's and do this one, and do this one, and do this one, and do that one. And the last piece I'll get into, if we can, is building your business in real estate. If I was going to give somebody advice, I'd ask a question to you. And, remember I told you at the beginning, there was these guys at this debate and they were debating about, all these brokerages are all changing and everybody's got a downline and a sideline and, recruiting and agents. Well, every brokerage on the planet only exists because they recruited agents. I mean, you can't have a brokerage without agents. It's not a brokerage. You're a single person.
It's
right?
simple.
You get a broker's license and be by yourself, but nobody gets the broker's license to be by themselves. They get a broker's license because they want to have a group of people around them. And Tara Shodi, I'm so glad you're on the call today. Talk about somebody who's great at putting all those people together in rooms and constantly. Top producers who work on teams, top producers who work in individual agencies, top people who are building brokerages, building teams, team leaders, brokerages, the whole 9 yards, right? So she puts the whole thing together. It's one of my favorite groups are these real producer groups because it's got everybody who's having a level of success in all the different arenas, all the different ways. So this argument that these guys were having was all these people, why are you focusing on that? That's dumb. Well, let me ask you a question. What are you building your real estate for? Now, if your answer is because I want to go sell 150 people a home this year, awesome. Go ahead and do that. You're transactional, and that's great. That's what we do. We help people every day. However, I like the Warren Buffett idea of, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. I'd rather help 100 people at a time. If I'm transactional, I'm helping one at a time. Well, Kurt, I've got 5 clients. Okay, great. So you're working with 5, but you're helping one at a time, and you're trying to close one deal at a time. Great. And if your average is 5 in a month, that's 60 in a year. God bless you. You're in the top 1%, top 1% agents in the country. God bless you. But you have to do it again next year and next year and next year and next year and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. Can you keep up that pace? And at what sacrifice? How much time does it take? What are you doing? If I take that same amount of time and I'm helping 100 agents at a time, and Tara can appreciate it, right? My group, just Curtis Shewell's group that I built in the last 10 years, we did over $12 billion in sales in real estate last year.
It's not bad.
Maybe that doesn't ring to anybody, but that's a pretty big number, right?
Yeah.
We did my group did $12 billion in sales. And if somebody wants to tell me that that's stupid and silly, you built this, I have 4,000 agents that I'm helping, and I'm bummed that it's not 10,000. But the great news is I can add another 1,000, and I know I can help another 1,000 after that. And if I continue to build that type of nationwide, international brand with agents to help within a platform that allows me to do that, all the new platforms, Jimmy, all the new real estate brokerages today, all the ones that are going to be existing tomorrow, guess what? They all have an element of allowing people to do that, because all the old models, they're all going away. Pay attention, right? Go look at all these lawsuits. Everybody's suing everybody. It's
yeah. Oh man,
right?
There's some big ones going on too.
They're all franchises. They're all disenfranchising themselves because you can't build it that way anymore, because the technology has changed the whole game. So it isn't the way it used to be, and people are like freaking out. And I get it, because I'm getting old, and there's certain things I like and I don't want them to change, but they're going to change if I like it or not. So if you're not open to it, you're not going to elevate your game. You're not going to move to that next. You're going to get stuck. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get stuck and you're going to get left behind. So I don't know technology that great at all. So why? I have my assistant, Bella. I had my assistant, Brooke. These are some amazing girls who are super talented. So Bella is all about social media. I am so blessed that I have an assistant that's that good at that stuff. Right. I had an assistant, Brooke, who's so great at helping me in this part of my biz. Bella helps me in this part of it. I'm ridiculously fortunate because, again, surrounding myself with people who know how to do the things I don't know how to do. And they make me very relevant, and they keep me on the cusp. So I'm learning from them. These are my 20-somethings teaching me immensely, because I don't know that stuff, but I'm learning it, and I don't have to know it at the granular level. And this is where I think a lot of agents make mistakes. I need to see my vision. I need to stay on top of the vision inside my business of what I want it to be and where I'm taking it. Then I have to be very good at integrating and implementing what I want done, and then find the pieces that I'm not good at, which we all know what we're not good at. We just have to admit it. I know, and I admit I am not good at a lot of things. Yeah. So I put people in my circle and in my business who are great at those things, so I can hit at a very high level on a lot of different pieces now that I personally am not very good at, but now my business is. And then I can stay focused on the things that I am extremely good at. And now I can excel. So if somebody wants to talk about, how you build it and that you can't do this, and this was that argument was, you guys are stupid chasing and recruiting agents. Every brokerage recruits agents. That's what they do, or else they don't exist. Now, some do it better than others. Some offer different things than others. I'm not saying one's better than another. I'm just saying that if you're not growing your business is dying. Make no mistake. And if you're transactional and the only way you make money is trying to close one deal and go to the next deal, you will phase yourself out. At some point, you will burn out. At some point, you will end. And that's what will happen. You'll have nothing for it. And then I get argument, and I was in this argument. This is the one I was telling you about at the beginning with these guys that were like, yeah, well, I invest in real estate. I invest in property. I'm like, okay, great. I invest in people. And I said, and they're like, yeah, well, that's stupid. And that's what his little words to me. That's stupid. He goes, I have 30 properties. I said, great. You have 30 rentals. Tell me one of them that pays you $500,000 a year. Tell me one. Which one of them pays you $500,000 a year? Well, and I go, don't say well. Well is an excuse. You're full of crap. None of them pay you $500,000 a year. How about $1 million? How many of them pay you $1 million a year? And he's like, Kurt, he said, that's dumb. I said, no, Not building it the way I built it would be dumb. I can build it this way and create whatever that amount's going to be. And I'm very happy with that and very proud of that, because I can take the same time doing exactly what you're doing and build something that is my investment. Yes, I do have properties. Yes, we buy rentals. Yes, we do all this fun stuff, right? My wife's like, wait, we got what? What properties? And she's like, you make my head spin. Well, that's a great thing. And at the same time, it's not about that. This is the best investment I've ever made, because I invest in people, and I've spent the last 10 years, 12 years, literally doing that. And guess what? It builds and it grows, and it's the best investment ever. It's the highest paid residual of anything, because that investment is much more monetized than any of the others. So I can do both, but I still do the others too. They just pay a lot smaller. They don't even pay anywhere near the same. So I make sure that, guess what gets the lion's share of my time? Building the business that pays you, because it's silly not to. So when these guys were talking about this and bashing on people, going, you're trying to recruit people. It's not about recruiting people. I'm building a business. No different than any other brokerage. The beauty is I have a cloud platform to do it on, where I can build it one time 100 times bigger than anything I could ever build outside of that. So there's my soapbox.
Well, that sparked something, man, because we had a bunch of comments coming out of here, right? So we had a few come in, and not or, right?
Amen.
Justin said, one of our largest deals build came from a 9-month nurture and has had the highest residual with multiple growth in referrals.
Amen. Love that. So true. So true.
Tara said, thanks for the shout out.
Well, come on, girl. You're doing something at a level that most people can never do. And if you're not investing in people, you're missing you just said invest in your people. We are so symbiotic on this. That's it. And I love investing in people. It's the complete different mind shift. And when you realize that, you'll sell more real estate, right? I get all my referrals. I don't go out and solicit business. I don't knock on doors anymore. I used to do all of it. Why? Because I had to find out what I was good at. So I did it every single way possible, but I wasn't afraid to do it. And you start selling a lot of homes. I became really good at that. Now, on the same time, I can help people, and I can help grow people, and I can take your friends, and you can take the people you admire, the people that it takes time to trust in that, right? And then you can help those people, and you start connecting them with others, right? Justin's got a company called Connections. What a great freaking name. I wish I could have coined that. I love that name, to be honest with you. I'm jealous about it, because I think of myself as that. Because people have connected me, I want to connect them, and look at how powerful you become. If you're not doing that, you're missing the boat, because you're so fixated on something so small. And that's what I find. Most people think too small. And I did too, Jimmy. I did too. Yeah. I had to learn this. This is not something that I just knew. I didn't know any of it. I learned it.
Yeah. Dante said, rock on with your bad selves.
Amen.
And Justin said too, invest in property and people.
And thank you. If you get anything out of this today, and stop limiting yourselves and stop thinking small.
Yeah. And it's so true. And you and I've had conversations about this over the years too. It's, you think you're a big thinker, and then you talk to somebody else.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And then you talk to a John Cheplack or a John Kitchens or a Jay Kinder, or, the list goes on with our group, right? Like,
yeah,
you can just, Leo Pareja, sit down with Leo and let him talk to you for a second, right? While you're spearfishing.
Yeah. I met a guy who's local to us, and I don't think it's appropriate if I say his name, because I really want to, because I was so blown away by this guy in an hour and a half conversation with him. I didn't see him coming. He just, the book, the cover doesn't match the book. I was like, oh, good to meet you. Hey, great. Awesome. Look, you're doing some good stuff. Your business. Let's talk about it. And I had looked him up. So, before we met, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're into this. And he's like, yeah, I do a little bit of that. And I'm like, no, you do massively that. You're really good at that. He's like, yeah, no, it's about my 5th biggest thing. And I'm like, excuse me? That's like one of the biggest I've seen in that area of real estate. Like, dude. And he's like, oh yeah, no, let me show you. And I sat there and I like lost my breath. I was like, dude, stop. And I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, there's no way. He goes, yeah, I'm the best kept secret. He goes, I'm great at just keeping, kind of doing it undercover. And I go, you do not have there's no way you're this. And this guy, I can't wait to talk about this guy. I asked him, Jimmy, I haven't said this to anybody in so many years. I literally was halfway in the meeting and I go, can I just say something? I don't care what I want to work with you, dude. I go, some capacity at one of these ways. I am blown away. This guy was so smart, Jimmy. This guy was so brilliant of how he approaches things because he's ridiculously educated. So let's go back to the education piece. This guy's got he's a double majored, or I was just blown away by this guy. He's like educated to the max. But I asked him, I said, where did you get this? And he said his stepfather was a CFO of a company and was in the financial world and became, a Fortune 500 director of different companies and ran these companies. And he's a Wall Street guy. And he said, by the time he graduated high school, he knew more than his high school teachers. He could talk them into circles.
Yeah.
Dude, this is amazing. He goes, I just learned it from being a kid and listening to my mother and then my stepfather. He said, he was amazing because he was the most brilliant guy I'd ever met. He was so smart. And I just learned, and he would drill me daily to understand these things that, still, are you smarter than a fifth grader kind of thing?
Right.
This guy was that fifth grader that blew your mind because he had learned it again from the experience of living it with his parents. And it was so amazing. This guy, he's 31 years old. And I'm like, this guy has me going like, oh my gosh, this guy sees it so well. I brought Mark into the meeting, Mark Z, because Mark's got he's got $100 million portfolio of real estate and such. And this guy's like, oh yeah, in the last 6 months, I did almost this, and Mark's like, wait, what? In 6 months? What are you talking? No, you didn't. And he's like, well, yeah, here's what I did. And we were both like sitting with our jaws dropped, like, what? Like, wait, hold on. Like, dude, again, wait a minute. Who are you again? Like, what? Amazing. So I'm hoping that I get to do some kind of business with this guy where I can literally promote the heck out of this guy. And everybody needs to see what this guy's doing. It's insane. Yeah. So good.
Well, tell him you got a guy with it that can get him on a podcast.
I want him on our podcast, and he's so bad. This guy's so good. It's really neat too. Like you say that, guys, there are 4 or 5 people that we've been meeting, Jimmy, myself, talking about and meeting with that we'd love to have on here as guests for Jimmy's show here and get you guys a ton of information because these are some really good people with a lot to offer. And I think the more we collaborate and the more we do these things, it's really awesome. So yeah, I posted on social media yesterday. I went earlier in the week out to another brokerage, some friends of ours, great guys. And everybody knows who they are. And, Fernara and Jerry, and I went out and checked out their office, because I want to see it. They're in Birmingham. They got a great gig. They got a nice thing going. It's really awesome. They're really good dudes. You know what I mean? They're just good dudes, and they're trying to do something great. And what's kind of neat is it's fun because they're learning all the things that I had to learn 10 years ago too. Right. So I'm just older. Right. So I have a little more experience. I've done what they're doing, and it's kind of neat to watch and, to collaborate with guys like that was great, and I've got no financial gain in that. They're a different brokerage and they're trying to build their thing. And all I did was give them honest to God, the best advice I could. And, told them what I thought they were doing well. And I told them what I thought they were missing on. I told them all the things I could share with them possibly to help them grow. And, they're awesome. And I hope they thrive and become phenomenal. We're not competition, everybody. You got to stop thinking that. It's such a small way of thinking. It's the people you think are competition today might be your business partners tomorrow. Like you're closing doors instead of opening them. Open the doors. If you got something good, share it. Show everybody what you're doing, because most people can't do it and they won't do it because people will not be consistent. They will not take action. They will not go do it. They'll write it down. That was amazing. And then they'll never use it. So if you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to listen to somebody and you seek the advice, then go do what they told you and see how it works for you. Find out. It might be easier than you think. It might become better at it than you think. It'll open more doors for you than you think.
I love it. Yeah, and you're right. It's like I told you, I spent some time on the phone with a broker owner, owns his own brokerage, and he's getting it going, and but this is the strain he's feeling. I was like, I'm producing and I'm trying to bring people on, and I'm like, I know. Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, I need to, do I, and then it goes back to this age old question. Do I bring on another agent? Do I get a transaction coordinator? It was a question he asked me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, then we had to break down more of his business, right? Like, all right, let's look at what you're doing. Like what? And then I went to all right, how much money did you make last year? Great. What's your hourly rate? You shouldn't be doing anything below that hourly rate, right? Go talks about this all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so it was right. I went right there with him, and he was like, "Oh man." I go, "Now that doesn't mean you sit home on the couch and eat bonbons while somebody else, you're paying somebody else. Like you have to like this is time to like prospect more, right? To get more clients in. Like this is." And I said, "You know, he's a dialer, right?" So I'm like, "Well, if you get a lot of listings, you should be sending a buyer's agent out. You're giving referral." He was like, "Wow." Like he was just like, but he's a young kid, just focused, blinders on, just doing business, you know.
I love that. You can steer him just by this, like, right. Be the rudder for him. Just move the rudder because it'll change the 1 degree. The further he goes out, because he's going, it's going to make a bigger, much broader, stroke for him. It's huge, Jimmy. That's great advice you're giving him. Yes.
And it's it's one of those things. It's like we've seen these, when we talk about the disc profile, these drivers, right? They'll ram into the wall 3 times, and I'll walk over and go, "Hey, there's a door right there. Like, stop running into the wall, man. Just go through the door."
Yes.
It's just like, but and the only reason that you and I know these things is because we ran into the same wall.
Oh, 100 times. I forgot the door was over there. Like, stop running through the wall. It's the fly right at the window. Oh, I can just try harder, because that's what people tell them. Oh, just try. You're not trying hard enough. Just try harder. Just do it again. Do it again. Do it again. No, dummy. You're going to sit there and be the fly that dies on the windowsill because you can't get through that glass and the flower is 3 feet from you. If you would have turned this way, blown out the door that's open, and go right to your flower, you'd have been there in 5 seconds. But the problem is we don't, right? We don't, because we don't listen and we're not open to other things. You giving them that direction has been great, Jimmy.
Yeah. It's funny, but again, it's not because I've never done it. It's because I did it and it hurt, and I don't want you to get hurt the same way I did, right? Like I got some scars, man. Like
I say, look at my face; it ain't pretty because I got scars, man. Right? Because we run through these things, But I'd rather be seasoned and have knowledge and experience, and then share it. Because if you don't share it, then what the hell did you do it for, right? Your own personal gain. Then you're going to be that lonely person. Why don't you be the one that shares everything and see what comes? We attract a lot that way, and I'm real pleased, at my world, and I love the people in it, and I thank them because they make me, people are like, "Oh, you're having great success." Well, yeah, because look who I'm surrounded by. How can I not? Look at the people I keep. Right. And it's not that I get rid of the others. No, those are still my people. It's just a matter of how much time I can spend in different places. I can only spend a certain amount of time because I've got responsibilities to a lot of others. And you got to live up to that. Don't say you're going to be something and not be it. If you're going to say you're going to be it, then be it. And be the best of it you can.
Well, we've got about 2 minutes left. And before we started, you showed me something that we were talking about. Let's bring that back up.
This is kind of fun, right? Get in the world of bourbons, right? So, a good buddy of mine, Mark Ellis, I'll give a shout out to him. Again, different brokerages, right? Phenomenal agent, a great guy. Well, he's into the bourbons with me. So we've been playing with this. Now I've joined this bourbon society. I actually bought into a bourbon company called The Difference. Real proud of that. Chris Voss, that wrote Never Split the Difference. Chris Voss, this guy, right? The great part is I did write a book with him, so I got my 2 minutes of fame with writing a book with Chris Voss, Empathetic Leadership. What a great experience that was. That was so fun. We did get our Quilly, right here. You can see my little Quilly, best-selling author. We got the best-selling, deal. How cool is that? Lots of fun. Amazing life. But then you become, partners with this guy by buying a business with him. So Chris Voss, myself, there's 25 of us that actually own the company. Nick Nan and a few other guys. Great. So we have our own bourbon. So this is our newest one. I just got this yesterday. They just got delivered yesterday. This is our second pour, meaning our second bottle of the year for 2026. This is called Anchor Point. This is our newest one. And I had some sample size ones, little pint size ones that they shipped me about 2 weeks ago. So I did get those. They were bottling these. These are bottled down in Bardstown in Kentucky. Anyway, our Bourbon Society is awesome. And anybody that's into the bourbons or would like to know how do you become part of that group, the really cool part is we have 51 members that are part of bourbon society that buy in to be part of it. The can be very cool is the rare bourbons, because everything we have is a rare bourbon. There's limited stock on any of them, so they're all rares, which are awesome, but they each tell a story. They're each made a different way. We have different finishes for all of them. There's a great story behind where we got all the barrels and all that. We don't have tough time for that, but guys, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, it's really about the network. I got into it not because of the bourbon. I got into it because of the network of people that are in this group that I would pay a ton to be in, and I did, I guess, but now I own a bourbon company, and this is so fun. It's one of the funnest things I've ever done. And my wife's like, "This is the dumbest thing you've ever done." I'm like, "I know, you're probably right about that, but it's the most fun thing I've ever done. This is so neat." And the group of people, and it's a whole different world of people, very successful, highly successful people, and I get to be in rooms with them. It's changing so much of how I see things, and we're having a lot of fun of it over bourbon. So
I love it, man. I love it. Good for you. Well, thanks again for joining me, my man. You got to get downtown. We got to celebrate Tigers opening day. Go from there. But I appreciate you, my friend.
Let's go.
And maybe we talked a little bit too. We'll talk about this later, but maybe there'll be a bourbon show coming up.
That would be amazing. Maybe we have maybe we have that. We get Dante.
I love my bourbon, and that stuff is delicious.
Yeah, we get our boy Dante with some tequila, learn some stuff. Yeah. We got some great people in this world, and I have some friends that are into the bourbons, and I think you're hitting on something strong, Jimmy. Anybody in the bourbon, let's collaborate. It'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, guys, now check it out everywhere you find podcasts. Check it on the YouTube channel, Lead Edge Network, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you, Jimmy. You're amazing.